Hello, this is Roger over at Bear Behind Beekeeping. Today I'm going to go into a couple of hives, see if it's time to add some supers, and tell you about some of the mistakes I made. Hopefully you won't experience this yourself. So this hive was really weak coming out of winter rather. And she is having a very hard time keeping up. So I gave her a boost of some brood, and we're going to see if that's making a difference or not. As you can see, I'm not using an inner cover this time. I've been having a lot of robbing problems, and so I've been skipping the inner cover just for this hive, and I've been using some nickels on the corners to help see if I could get it to, if I can get it to have proper ventilation. So right now, I don't know if you can see it from the camera here, but the top super isn't very exciting. There's not a lot going on there. So we're going to take a look at the bottom and see how the girls are doing. And they look a little better right now already, I can see, than last week. Do a quick check, make sure Her Majesty isn't hanging out on here. So I don't see her hanging out up top. And let's see how the ladies are doing under here. And just as a technique, I'm going to take a frame a little further away from the main brood, or what I hope to be the main brood. Because this hive was so weak, I really loaded it down with a lot of, loaded them up rather, with a lot of extra honey from some dead outs. I'm cautiously optimistic that I don't have nosema or amoeba problems, and it was just a weak hive. So really nothing going on here, just some old comb, hoping to give her some room to lay. Doesn't look like she's expanded in here at all. And let's see what she's done. So she started to expand her brood nest a little bit. A lot of honey in here. Looks like we got some drone. No eggs to speak of, but to be quite honest with you, I'm sweating so much that I'm not sure I'd be able to see eggs through the drips in my glasses. See if you can see any eggs in there, but I do see some pollen stored in there. And I don't see Her Majesty. It looks like we got a little bit of drone coming in. No eggs on it. Here's our next frame. It's kind of light. A lot of drone brood on this one. I got a bad feeling about this. I don't see any eggs. Hopefully this is a decent camera angle. See any eggs? I do see some baby bees, some fuzzy bees. No joy on Her Majesty. She was a really early emergency cell. All right. Alright, we've got eggs and larvae down there. So I do have eggs and larvae, so that is a good sign. Although a lot of this is drone brood. So we'll see what happens in our next frame. I can't remember if I showed you this one, but here we go. And no joy on Her Majesty. But I did see her the last time I poked into this hive, so hopefully she's still there. So this is the frame I added to boost her up. And it looks like we've got bees hatching, which is a great sign. I actually thought they were a little more advanced, so I figured they'd hatch a little sooner, but that's okay. They're starting to emerge. I don't see any additional... Oh, there's a baby bee being born right now. Hopefully you can see that. The sun isn't conducive to me looking at the camera, but she's emerging right there. I don't see Her Majesty yet, but it looks like this little hive is going to, or this little frame is going to give her a nice boost. So hopefully, although hope is not a method, hopefully she'll be able to survive the winter, really, at this point. And I think I see Her Majesty here, checking out a cell. Right here, if you can see her at the corner. I'm not seeing a lot of eggs in there. Let me just take this to the sun. Oh yes. I don't know if you could see it without the sun, but she is backfilling this frame with eggs. So I think we are on the right track with this frame, this hive, but we're not going to put that extra super on. I just don't think she's got the room, or I don't think she's got the bees to support it. So we're done with this one. We've seen all we're going to need to. We've got a queen, she's laying. A couple of days we'll come back and double check that that is not all drone brood. Bad news is I had a super all ready to go on there, but that's the way it goes. I try to help the bees a little bit, but it's really their show. And I'm just another observer. Oh, that's right. I was going to try to put some drone comb in there. Since I got them open, maybe I'll do that after all. Yeah, this one's not amounting to much anyway, so I'll pop this out. Slide this over, because I know there's no brood in there. Slide this over. I don't think there's brood on this one. Nope. So a lot of you have probably seen this. This is green drone comb. The idea is to have the bees draw this out and then she'll lay only drone eggs, unfertilized eggs on here, and then this will be part of my mite management controls. That may or may not be successful. After later in the year, I'll probably do formic acid treatment on these. I've been using oxalic acid, but I think my delivery technique has been doing more harm than good. So I'm going to try to just stick with the formic acid more, and then using a little bit more of the natural holistic stuff, where I won't have quite as many chemicals added in here. So we'll close them up. Without knocking the nickels down, and of course I did, didn't I? That's on camera. Maybe I'll edit that out. Well, I guess it wouldn't be very professional to edit it out. We'll see. There's another one. Well, once again, I lost a nickel, and my wife is correct. I have no sense. Let's move over to green. But before we talk about green, we'll talk about red. Red was a new hive that we just added this year. They were emerging pretty good, so I threw a super on. But she came queenless, but had 4 queen cells. So I split up the queen cells between this hive and this little mating nuke to see if I could get a 2-for-1 special. So there's 2 queen cells. If my math is right, they should be emerging today, but I'm not going to crack them open. I just added the super to give the girls a little bit of room to build, and because they had a lot of capped brood in there, but no queen. So here's the next hive we're going to attack. I have seen eggs, but I have not seen Her Majesty in here. So I'm curious if she passed away in transit, or if she's just been a loose. So let's see what we got. I have a honey super ready to go if she's staying strong. Well, we got 1, 2, 3, 4 frames of bees in there. So we're right on that edge to determine if we should throw that super on. And the way I've been doing 5 to 6 frames. We're at 4 frames here. If she's laying really strong, I'll probably throw it on. But actually, I take that back. I've got 3 frames of undrawn here. I don't think I'll put that on. We'll see. So these girls are giving me a little bit of a roar. Alright, everybody down. I know, nobody likes to smoke. Nobody likes the queen squealer either, but I don't want her laying up top until, actually I don't want her laying up top at all. Alright, so Her Majesty isn't on there. see what we got going on. Once again, just taking one of the farthest frames away. So I've got eight frames of bees here. A little bit of honey, a little bit of wonky comb. So this is one that I boosted her with from a dead out. Looks like they're working some of that sugar water from last year, some of those granulations. I'm not entirely sure they can do anything with the granulated sugar in there. But I figure worst case is they'll just pull it out and throw it out of the hive if they don't want it. Right now, wow, you're roaring. We may be queenless. So right now we have elderberry, which I haven't seen the bees working. We got a lot of wildflowers and grasses going, so I think we're still on a honey flow for our area. This is heavy. I've been putting some nectar in there. Odd that they have not been moving it up top. They've all been putting it in here. Alright. I'm going to take 2 of these out. Just for grins. Give myself some room. This nuke came with plastic frames. I'd never had plastic frames before. I kind of like them. The drawback that I see to them is they flex a lot more than the wooden ones do when I'm working the hive tool. I see a lot of nectar in here. I'm a little concerned that they're not putting it up top. That queen excluder may be turning into a bee excluder. But we got lots of pollen, lots of nectar. I'm not going to do a shake on it. It just seems silly at this point. So here's the first of our nuke frames. Let's see what she's done. Got a drone, a couple drones. A lot of backfilled honey. Little worker bringing in some pollen. No eggs here. See some drones kicking around, doing their thing. No eggs. Let me just take this a little different in the sun. Nope, no eggs on that one. But we're not that deep into the nuke yet, or the added nuke, so I'm not in panic mode yet. Get off that, young lady. I just try to move slow and easy. I'll use smoke, but not tons of it. Alright, uh-oh. We got 1, 2, 3 emergency cells. Or supersedure cells, but because there's so many of them, I think they're emergency cells. I see no eggs. How about you? Emergency cells on this side too. Lots of emergency cells. Let's see what the next one gives us. There's more emergency cells on that one. I'm stealing them, and I'm going to make another mating nuke. Probably not the smartest thing to do with the last week of June, first week of July. But I don't like to waste queen cells. Sorry, ladies. Especially if there's that many. We'll put them gently back and see what's going on a little deeper in the brood box. If I find her, I'm going to take her out and put her in the mating nuke. But I don't think I'm gonna. So we got pollen, we got bees, we have no emergency cells here. So this is the third day, or the third visit that I haven't seen the queen, and this is the first visit and I haven't seen any eggs. So I have a suspicion that she was laying when I picked up the nuke, and she either died in transit or they didn't like the transit. You never can tell with these. Or another thing I could have done is when I stole the brood from the last one, thinking I was all clever shaking the bees off, I very well could have taken Her Majesty with me. I thought I saw a beeless frame, but sometimes she moves, and I could have screwed that up. Sometimes the beekeepers aren't very bright. At least this beekeeper. Other beekeepers are very bright. Alright, let's see if we got any emergency cells on this one. I hope I do. I do. One emergency cell there in the corner. I don't know if you can see it. Lots of nectar. Some cap brood. A lot of cap. Ooh, a lot more emergency cells here. Alright. I've got 3 cells on this one. I got 3 cells on the other one. I'm going to do it. Ooh, what's this? What's this? Nope, just a regular bee. I thought I saw Her Majesty. So between the funny little roaring, I don't know if you could hear that, but it sounded just a little different than the other hive when I opened it up. Kind of impatient. That's what I've noticed with the ladies when they're queenless, is they get that impatient sound. And if they're absolutely queenless, they get ornery. But they got cells going, so I don't think they're all scared and angry. I'm going to leave this right out. This will actually work quite well. So I can add my drone comb in the middle of the box, so they start thinking about this one and building it out. And I'm going to double check to make sure I'm leaving them some emergency cells. Oh, that was in this frame. It was the other frame, but I saw it. I saw one. Oh, you getting upset with me? I'm sorry. We'll close you up. You've been good to me. But the bad news is nobody's getting going to get, excuse me please, bees, nobody's getting an extra super. They all stand just like this. But what that does do for me is it means I can take off the queen excluder, because there's no So overall, a small setback that hopefully I've turned into a decent opportunity. So today we found that the green hive, although it was pretty decent with bees and had some emerging brood, was queenless with 6 emergency or supersedure cells. I'm going to call them emergency cells in this case because there is no queen. And what I did was I left 3 in the green hive, and I took 3 and I put them in the little Pro nuke box, which is that 5-frame nuke with the blue top. The red hive was queenless when I bought it, not knowing that it was queenless, of course. And they also had 6 emergency cells, and I split that into that little blue mating frame at the bottom left of the screen. So that did okay. So I have the red and the little blue mating nuke should be emerging today or tomorrow, and then with a little luck I'll be able to check in a week or so to see if they're laying or successful. The white hive I boosted with some brood from the green nuke because that was the strongest of the bunch, and I think it's on the right path. I kept a queen excluder on her just to keep her from getting in that top box. We'll see. Unfortunately, I don't think this is going to be a banner honey year for me, but if I can get out of Dodge with 5 hives, I'm going to call the year a success. But I'm not going to count my beehives until next April.